From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago.
Why has tragedy followed the Kennedy family for generations? Imagine the family you're part of right now. Maybe you love being part of it, or maybe you don't. But can you imagine being part of a royal family? Well, not officially, but imagine being part of the famous Kennedy family, often called America's royalty. You'd probably think you hit the jackpot, right? After all, this family had it all: wealth, beauty, and fame. They seemed to have the world at their feet. But you'd be wrong. Being a Kennedy was far from a dream life. Behind the glamour, the family has faced heartbreaking tragedies for generations. Were these tragedies just bad luck, or was it fate? The Kennedy family is one of the most famous and influential families in American history. They are known for their political power and wealth, but also for the tragic events that have affected them over generations. Today we'll explore their history, the tragic events that shaped them, and the theories behind a possible curse. Question for you: if you could choose one famous family to be a part of, which one would you choose? Which one would you hate to be a part of? It all started with Joseph P. Kennedy. Joseph Kennedy became wealthy in the 1920s through the stock market, real estate, Hollywood, banking, and alcohol importing. During the Great Depression, he bought and sold real estate and made money from movie studios like RKO Pictures. After Prohibition, he got licenses to sell alcohol and invested in banks. He was the U.S. ambassador to the United Kingdom from 1938 to 1940. By the 1930s, his fortune was over $200 million. This wealth helped build the Kennedy family's political power. Joseph Kennedy and his wife, Rose Fitzgerald Kennedy, had 9 children: Joseph P. Kennedy Jr., John F. Kennedy, known as JFK, Rosemary Kennedy, Kathleen Kennedy, Eunice Kennedy, Patricia Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, known as RFK, Jean Kennedy, and Ted Kennedy. The first major tragic event for the Kennedy family was the death of Joseph P. Kennedy Jr., the eldest son. He was a naval pilot who died in a plane explosion during World War II. He was only 29 years old. Rosemary Kennedy. She was born with some developmental disabilities. After a failed lobotomy in 1941, she was left permanently disabled and lived in care homes for most of her life. She died at the age of 86. Kathleen Kennedy also died in a plane crash in 1948 at the age of 28. Her newlywed husband was fatally shot by a sniper at the age of 26. Ted Kennedy served as a U.S. Senator for nearly 47 years. Early in his career, he was involved in a scandal. In 1969, Ted Kennedy accidentally drove off a bridge on Chappaquiddick Island, Massachusetts. His passenger, Mary Jo Kopechne, a 28-year-old former campaign worker for Robert F. Kennedy, was trapped in the car and drowned. Ted escaped but did not report the accident until 10 hours later. He later pleaded guilty to leaving the scene of an accident and received a 2-month suspended sentence. Ted Kennedy died at age 77 from brain cancer. His daughter, Kara Kennedy, died of a heart attack while exercising at a health club in Washington, D.C., at the age of 51. You probably know of the John F. Kennedy assassination in 1963. He was the 35th President of the United States. On November 22, 1963, while he was driving through Dallas, he was shot and killed by Lee Harvey Oswald. He was only 46 years old. JFK was married to Jacqueline Kennedy. They had 4 children, but 2 died at a very young age. Their son, JFK Jr., grew up to be very popular, but he tragically died in a plane crash, along with his wife and her sister, on July 16, 1999. He was only 38 years old. The only surviving child is their daughter, Caroline Kennedy. Jacqueline Kennedy died at 64 years old after a brief battle with cancer. Sadly, JFK's brother, Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, was also assassinated 5 years later. RFK served as the U.S. Attorney General and a U.S. Senator. He was shot on June 5, 1968, after giving a campaign speech in Los Angeles.
The Ambassador Hotel, Los Angeles, on June 5, 1968, headquarters for the Robert Kennedy for President campaign. Victorious in the crucial California primary, Kennedy addresses an enthusiastic crowd in one of the hotel's ballrooms.
My thanks to all of you, and now it's on to Chicago, and let's win there. Thank you.
Maitre D reported that Senator Kennedy had been shot. He's been shot? That's
He was
right.
shot by Sirhan Sirhan and died from his injuries the next day, on June 6, 1968. He was only 42 years old. RFK was married to Ethel Kennedy. They had 11 children. His son, David A. Kennedy, died of a drug overdose at 28 years old. His other son, Michael Kennedy, died in a skiing accident after crashing into a tree in Aspen, Colorado. He was 39 years old. His granddaughter, Saoirse Kennedy Hill, died from an accidental drug overdose at the age of 22. On April 2, 2020, his other granddaughter, Maeve Kennedy, and her 8-year-old son disappeared during a canoe trip. They accidentally drowned, and their bodies were found a few days later. The Kennedy family is very large, so even though many have passed away, many are still living. One Kennedy we hear about often now is RFK Jr. He leads the Department of Health and Human Services in the Trump administration. His first wife, Mary Richardson, died by suicide at 52 years old. The Kennedys are not as popular or influential today, but many of them are still active in public service. Would you choose a wealthy life if it meant facing more tragedy? Some wild conspiracies suggest that the reason this family has faced so much tragedy is because they're cursed. One theory suggests that one of the Kennedy ancestors discovered a chest filled with gold coins in an Irish village in 1842. However, these coins were cursed, and the curse followed his family for many years. Another speculation is that some Jewish leaders placed a curse on the Kennedy family. Joseph Kennedy was accused of supporting Nazi Germany and having negative views about Jewish people during World War II. It is said that he did not want the U.S. to help Jewish refugees fleeing from Nazi persecution. Some people believe the curse began after Joseph Kennedy ordered a lobotomy for his daughter Rosemary in 1941, which left her permanently disabled. Some people also believe that all of this simply happened by chance. They are a large family and have just had bad luck. What do you think? Is the Kennedy curse coincidence or fate? This family has experienced great wealth and fortune, but has also faced many tragedies. Here's to hoping the remaining Kennedys live long, healthy lives.
If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more easy English stories and questions, please like and subscribe. I post videos on Tuesdays and Thursdays.